You might say, I'm very good with my children. But what about your house help? You're not just a parent because to your biological children, you're also a parent to children that have been placed under your authority, whether it is biological, whether maybe in the school you're a proprietress or a proprietor, you're an administrator, but as long as a child has been placed under your care, you are a parent, and every word you say affects that child. So let's look at the impact on their mental health. Anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorder. Anxiety is a mental health, condition. It's characterized by excessive and persistent worry, nervousness, and fear. Anxiety disorder. Now, who has ever, because it happened to me in those days, my mother can beat for Africa, and she will curse, she will beat. That there was this time at a point, she might raise her hand to want to collect something behind you, and you do like this. That's anxiety disorder. The child now, because of your negative words, the child now develops symptoms of anxiety, which is intense fear, pounding heart, jumpiness. The child is easily startled. In fact, the child might be outside and you say, Nkechi, the child will be, hey, who knows what is going on in the house? Just because you shouted Nkechi, it might just be Nkechi needs to bring something from the kitchen. But just the sound of your word, your voice rather, the child is already taken afar in so much intense fear. These are things we do to our children. Is it good? Let me ask. Is it good? Would you love to keep doing this to your children? I don't think so. Now let's talk about depression. Depression is another mental health condition that can crop up due to negative words. Depression is characterized by persistent sadness. You notice this child is always sad. Every time the child is sad. This child is in a state of hopelessness. Nowhere to go to again because of our words. You're a fool, foolish girl, nonsense human being I went to bring, thief, liar. You say these things to a human being created by God. This child goes into a state of loneliness and sadness. That's not right. This affects both their behavior and also their mood. It affects their energy level. It affects their sleep and appetite. This child does not even have the desire to eat again. Because of your words, no. That's not right. Also, let's talk about developmental and cognitive impacts negative words have. Is under the mental health. Now, children that are verbally abused majorly have poor academic performance. This is because they have issue retaining words. They have issue in retaining words. They have issues with speech and language. You see them, they have very few vocabulary. They are constantly sad. They hardly speak. They have no confidence. This child is on her own, on his own, isolated, rejected, in a world where your parent is, or your auntie, or your uncle, or your sibling is consistently talking you down. Good for nothing. You will never amount to anything. So we even go ahead and hi, because what? You broke a plate. Nkechi, this is my plate you broke. It will not be well with you. Your own children will do that to you. No. So they have issues. They have issues with school academics. They can't retain anything because their brain is in a confused state. Also, if you look at neuroscience perspective, neuroscience carried out a research on children that are verbally abused. They went ahead to check stress response. They found out that negative words, what it does is it triggers up a hormone stress hormone, and what this hormone does is it affects brain development. So now you understand why you keep correcting a child. In fact, there is this one I can remember. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. You can't even do anything right. You can't even do anything. And the more you say, the child is getting worse. It happened to me. I don't know why I keep spoiling it, because I don't have the intention to spoil it. But the fear of, even they say bring a tray, will be as in just bring something from the kitchen and come. We're waiting for you, and visitor is there. By the time I get in front of the visitor, the thing will break. Because the fear, what happened is just that I'm afraid of what could be said, and before I know it, my fear will now come to pass. And in front of that visitor, they will dress me well with more words. Visitor will now be begging, please, it's okay, don't talk to her like that, don't talk to her like that. And the next day, I'll make that same mistake. I'll make it again and again. The stress, the hormonal whatever that is being activated, stress hormones, it was affecting my brain now. I could not coordinate myself. I was always making unnecessary mistakes. This was not my mom this time, but this was when I went to live with my sister, an elder sister. So you see, that thing I told you, that the way you talk to your child, that child, if care is not taken, will also go the same route. You see, our mother was actually that way. My sister didn't know when she picked it up. If she opens her mouth on a house help like this, that one will cry until I'll come back from school and say, please forgive her. Her mouth, Ose. And she took it from her mom. Also, they carried out another research on brain activity, and they found out that negative words activates the brain region that is associated with pain and emotional distress. When you speak to these children, whether it is your daughter or your son or your niece or your cousin or somebody else's child, when you speak these words, what you do is that you're causing pain and emotional distress in a human being that God created in his own likeness. Now, let me show you a scripture. This scripture, when I saw it, my body shook. You use your tongue to disrupt the course of nature. What God has assigned that this child will be, you realign it with your tongue to fit the purpose of the devil. We really need to pay attention to our words. James 3, 5 to 12. Can we quickly read it, please? And it says, even so the tongue is a little member, and boasted great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire and a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature. Did you hear that? Your tongue setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. When you do this, that tongue, it will be set on fire of hell, because your tongue is supposed to be aligned to you align your tongue to the will of God. You align, what is the will of God concerning this my child, these children that are under me? What does God say? And no matter how angry you are, you don't say the opposite of what God has already said concerning that child. For me, when I started growing and I started seeing a lot of things, even before marriage, I told myself that I will not go that route, because I saw what it did to me. And when my children started coming, words matter in my house. Words matter for me. Me. It might come from any other person, but me, words matter. I didn't want my child or my children to go through what I went through because of what people said. So I started from early times. I don't lie to my children. Even if I'm joking, anything mommy says, if I say it, that means I must do it. And I don't use words on my children. And my children are not permitted to use words on themselves. They might not be perfect, but if you're reported, you will not like it. Because did I say that to you? Just like Pastor Angel say. When I heard her say it one day, I said, this is exactly what I used to tell my children. If I did not tell you, what gave you the right to say it to another? You know, your words can actually, even if you've made these mistakes, it is still your words that will correct it. I was not thoroughly, I can't say I'm perfect in everything, in every aspect. I know there was a point, there are areas I saw errors, which is the fact, there was something Pastor Angel was talking about, knowing the emotions, not studying the emotions of your children, how they are built up. My two children are different from themselves. There is one that is highly emotional, and there is one that does not care. If you like talk, it doesn't touch him. So the one that is highly emotional, I was pushing, and that one was the one that was frequently attacked with words because of his size. So I noticed he was now struggling in school. So, I'll push. Why don't you do this? I was not using negative words, but I was, do this now, try now. So I noticed the more I did, the worse the boy became. And now, what I now noticed was that instead of the boy being better, he's not afraid of the exam. He's afraid of, he will say, a long lecture he will get after he fails or he didn't do well. So when I saw this happen to this boy, I knew I had to stop. So just like Pastor Angie said, I started using words of encouragement. I said, you can do this. Do it for yourself. Do it because you want to make yourself proud. And once I see you proud, me too, I will be proud too. But, just do it for yourself. I want you to do it because you need to. And don't worry about every other thing that anybody is saying. I now, took out time. I kept talking to him until the boy started doing well in school. So our words go a long way. And finally, you may ask, what are the words? What are the different types of negative words? So that I'll be mindful of them. Words that attack the children's character. Words that attack the children's physical appearance. You see a child, instead of to say, hello, how are you, fine boy? You say, oh, rubber, fat boy, now wow, now you dey chop all the food where they are also. Is that a compliment? Big head, this is your ear, no be small. It be like fan. Is that a compliment? E.T. Now wow, you should be at the back of the class. The way you're carrying last, they should give you 1 ground for back. These are words that you don't know what you're doing to these children. That's in fact, when people say orobokibo or robo boy, you feel you're complimenting as in one wonderful word you're using. You're just telling the boy how handsome they are. You wouldn't know that this boy is already having issues with his weight and he doesn't want to hear that. So words that attack their physical appearance, words that attack, you see somebody, the person is disabled, you're focused on it. It's not right. Words that undermine their efforts. This child is trying and trying and trying. Instead of you to be kind and encourage, you're like, do you ever do anything right? Is there anything you do right in your life? You're undermining that child's efforts and they will get worse. Also words that belittle them. Words that belittle them. You're always belittling. Maybe you went to get this house help from the village. Say, Shebi, you see town, not be because I bring you come. You don't come town now. In your father's house, have you ever seen this plate before? That you just held the plate, you couldn't even be careful. You just want to break it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, my advice, and I think I've been mentioning it for some time now. My advice is, let your words align with God's will for the child. Use your words to effect positive changes and establish order in the life of your children. Thank you so much.